Our moon is a machine, that it is hollow, that it is filled with what we would call computer equipment, and that it has been used as a monitoring and manipulation station by non-humans of their laboratory experiment of Earth for millions of years. I have talked with people who have worked in government intel agencies on what is called the alien presence problem. And a couple of times when I've said, I've been told by an abductee that the moon is a machine filled with computers. It watches, observes, downloads, uploads information to someone somewhere else in the universe. People who would be CIA, NSA have said, it's absolutely right.
Linda Molten Howe. She is an OG in this field, and if you haven't heard of her, go look her up. If you've ever heard of cattle mutilations, it's because of her. She did a whole thing in the 70s about it. Listened to her a lot on Art Bell growing up, late 90s, early 2000s, always had a lot of information. She seems like someone who, if there was controlled opposition, they'd be sending them to her because she'll get stories like this computer moon theory that seem out there, but she always says that her sources are either high level intelligence or someone in the military. Who knows for sure? But she's also done things about the pyramids and Antarctica. She's interviewed a few, again, military men, military, who knows, their faces are all blacked out, that tell her that there's bases in Antarctica. And this hollow moon computer theory is also pretty cool because I'm sure some of you have heard that at one point they hit the moon with something and it rang like a bell. Check that out. That's not a conspiracy thing. That's pretty mainstream. And that it worked as if it had like massive hydraulics. I remember them saying something about that. But the computer theory thing is kind of interesting because that would go more into the we're kind of being watched by something or maybe observed, or this planet is some sort of just kind of like experiment and that might be its base of operations. Who knows? Another very interesting one.
Never mind just Bigfoot. If that species is out there, and I can come back to them, what else is out there? Hundreds of years to thousands of years, hundreds of cultures, all saying the same thing, by the way, and tens of thousands of anecdotal references, including sightings. Something's there. What if it was simply a species of intensely savant autistic individuals, and their savant autism gave them such extraordinary ability of hide and seek, and on top of that, a savant ability of telepathy and savant ability, and they understood how to manipulate their own energy, their own life force energy.
Mr. Les Stroud. Love this man. Grew up watching Survivor Man from the very beginning. When I get really, really sick, I just throw on his videos and just pretend I'm outside, throw a campfire on my YouTube thing and just watch him. In around 2016, he came out with Survivor Man Bigfoot, which amazing. I think a lot of Bigfoot shows are just full of it. Never find anything, and it's always just kind of like ghost shows. Like, oh, did you hear a noise? There's a few shows that are doing a little bit better. Expedition Bigfoot, I enjoyed that one. That seems to be less. Um, there's a noise. It's gone. They actually found quite a few things, especially the nests. Now, could be bears, but I find that show interesting, but not as interesting as Mr. Les Stroud. Watching him throughout the years, you would have never expect him to have a Bigfoot show, but I'm glad he did. I guess if you listen to him, he told a story on, I think it was Opie and Anthony back in the day, about when he was in Alaska, just moving around some grass, and something off in the bushes kept catching his attention. And evidently, he just stood up and he heard something, and these are his words, sounding like a freight train running through the woods. And then it made the unmistakable sound of a primate, the hoo, 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 hoo. Not going to do that again. But you can imagine being out in Alaska and hearing that. And then that always kind of stuck with him. There was also another time him and his wife, they were living in the woods, and he unmistakably hears a bipedal steps coming up to him. And he did what you do when you encounter a bear. He just, hey, footsteps stopped, and you hear him walk away. So 2016, he made the Great Bigfoot Show, and I've loved it. It's on his actual YouTube channel. He's made everything free. Just made a new announcement that he might be doing new stuff this year, but when someone like this talks about it, it gives a lot more credence. I mean, there's a lot of bullcrap in the Bigfoot, ghosts, UFOs, aliens, all the paranormal stuff. I've always been interested in people like him that can give a better understanding to laymen that can look at it who are always just thinking it's something silly.
Do you notice little things? Like I notice I'll be in my kitchen and I'll just have a glass by the sink where I'll just fill it up with water and drink it, whenever I need some water, right?
Well, you drinking tap water?
Yeah, I've been drinking tap water.
Me too.
What?
Yeah.
I've been drinking since I was born. My whole
Me
family
too.
drinks it.
That's all I know.
Wait. You guys drink tap water?
My whole family drinks it.
Oh yeah, we born and raised on that. Shit.
LA tap
You guys
water.
are kidding.
I'll
You
drink
guys
out
are
of the
kidding.
gutter.
You guys are kidding. No way.
Yeah, I drink
Oh
tap
no,
Do you
every
guys
day.
know how much chlorine they put in that?
I feel.
I hope a
fine.
lot.
Yeah, I hope. I could use a little.
Fluoride?
Hey, you guys don't drink it?
Yo, what are you guys drinking?
Yeah, what are you guys drinking, dude?
I'm sorry, ballers. What are you bottled
Mountain
water all
water?
day?
What are you guys doing?
I don't
Laying
do
your
tap
mouth open?
water.
No. Oh, I'm sorry, Palisade boys.
You have a filter on it?
Absolutely not.
What? Straight from the tap.
Look at him. Of course he doesn't.
No, hell no, dude. I'm like a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Right? That's so strong.
Bro, he still takes creatine.
Yeah,
Okay,
in
what
the
do we-
tap water. I got energy for days, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Look at
my
us, dude.
God. I'm surprised you're not radioactive at this point.
Yeah, you're crazy, bro.
Dude, you guys are going to
Yeah,
die
but I'm different than you. But yeah.
This is a great video for a couple reasons. One, it's got Sam in it. Two, it gives you a good view of how some people will react to conspiracies in a very silly way, and sometimes even like Brendan Schwab did. He was like, I'm on it. Water fluoridation has been around for a while. I guess it started in the 60s when they were trying to do like Red Scare stuff, when like, oh, they're trying to put it in the water and, so they can impose the communist regime. It was viewed as silly. And it still was for a while. But what I'm on right now is the National Institute of Health .government website. I'll put the link in the description. This is from the National Library of Medicine. It is from 2018. So it started in the 60s. I guess there was a guy named Charles Eliot Perkins that repeated dose of infinitesimal amounts of fluoride will, in time, reduce an individual's power to resist domination by slowly poisoning and narcotizing a certain area of the brain, and will thus make him submissive to the wills of those who wish to govern him. All these claims back then had a political and ethical motivation, and rarely any scientific basis was found. It then goes on to say, the controversy has gained momentum over the years as more research is released to support the stance of the anti-fluoride lobby. It goes on to cite a bunch of different studies. It basically kind of gives you a cliff notes of each one right here. And I'll go over a couple of them really quick. Only 50% of the daily ingested fluoride is excreted through the kidneys. The remainder accumulates in the bones, the pineal gland, and other tissues. Interesting. Fluoride toxicity can lead to renal damage in children. Fluoride has been shown to be mutagenic by causing chromosome damage and interference with enzymes involved with DNA repair in a variety of cell and tissue studies carried out in animals. Recent studies have also found a correlation between fluoride exposure and chromosome damage in humans. The only government-sanctioned animal study to investigate whether fluoride causes cancer in 1990 found a dose-dependent increase in cancer in the target organ bone of fluoride-treated male rats. This led to a 14-year research carried out by Harvard University that showed a significant link between fluoridation and a rare form of bone cancer called osteosarcoma in young boys, consistent with the results of the 1990 study. Fluoride as a neurotoxin has been proven to be severe in animal studies. A 2006 National Research Council report stated that it is apparent that fluorides have the ability to interfere with the functions of the brain and the body by direct and indirect means. So this is one of those things you can kind of look up, and the more you look up, it gets kind of scary, because this is something that anybody can go to and look, there's definitely something weird going on. And there's also people like Dr. Dave, a famous YouTube guy who debunks everything. He's the kind of guy who's almost as bad as like a zealot flat earther, because he'll talk about how he'll just debunk fluoride altogether, but he won't look at things like these. He'll just say it's all silly, the claim that Nazis did it to pacify the Jews. Like, he'll bring up what I think is called a red herring. I might be wrong. It's what I talked about in my other video, is that you pick something silly and you're able to take that apart easily because guess what? It's silly. I'm sure if you'd asked Dr. Dave how many countries in the EU have banned fluoride, he'd be like, one or two? Like, nah, it's like 90% of them, or even more than that. So that's why I think videos like this are really, really good, because everyone wants to just poo-poo conspiracies immediately, like the Brian Callen guy from the previous video. But the truth is, there's scary things, and some of these scary things are pretty easy to look up and find that there's a lot of legitimacy behind them. So I won't read to you ever again. I'll try to get better at that.
Measure something. Well, here's a straight shot onto Mexico and Baja, and we can drive across Mexico, go across the bay in Baja, and we could scientifically prove that that's 934 miles. NASA tells us that the diameter of the Earth, a line straight through it, no curvature involved, just the diameter, 7,917 miles. Here is 934 miles on this map of theirs. I should be able to fit 8.5 of these in between these two red lines. I can't even get them on this page.
Don't start screaming at me. This is Mr. David Weiss. He is like the flat earther. I enjoy his videos. I like him because he'll do little simple ones like this that can just make you think. I will say this. I do like how flat earthers bring out a certain type of person. And I'll give you an example. So the reason why, and this is what NASA says, the reason why all the pictures look different over time from the NASA agency is because satellites actually don't take pictures. They're just taking data, and then they take that data and then they make pictures of it later. What I like is when you go into Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and you look at the comments among the dumb flat earther, have you ever learned anything? You'll have 80% of them basically saying, well, this is taken from a different satellite with a different exposure, different lenses, literally making stuff up. NASA never said anything about taking pictures. They just say it's data. But you'll have people that want to be so right and anti something that they're lying as well. So it's like kind of like what's worth. It's like what's worse. A person who believes in flat earth because he's watched a lot of stuff, or someone who's just has literally almost no idea what they're talking about like camera lens and stuff just to uphold an idea that they think is true. It's kind of like religion. Again, I do not believe the earth is flat, and I'll have a few videos on here that'll get you guys thinking, especially with the ISS, the space station, like the different speeds that it flies at. I won't get into it now. But NASA's up to something weird, and I'll sprinkle in some of these videos from time to time just to get you thinking, because it's interesting.
This guy's doing a flip right here, and the guy next to him just reaches up and grabs a harness that's right on his hip.
I gotta pause it real quick. I'm gonna pause it because the funniest part to me, well, there's several funny parts, by the way. I don't know. But the lady in the background with the hair, it's like, did someone not think that like we've got to make her hair look like that, right? It's got to be standing up. Yeah. Dude, it is hard as a rock. It's not moving. Yeah. You know, it's like this is we must be in space. Look at her hair. Like obviously, there's this thing called hairspray. Yeah. So here goes this guy doing a backflip, and then
gravity just like gravity goes away. He must have found a pocket.
Gravity goes away and he fell.
Yeah.
Or he got caught up in that harness he's wearing. Here comes the Walma Senior
Yeah.
in the background.
Yeah.
Holy hell!
And it's obviously
Here's an arrow.
guy filming with a green tennis ball in front of a blue screen.
Right. Clearly, I mean, it's not even.
And then here's a clip of what they turned it
Here's
into.
his water particle. Yep. Wow.
This guy just disappears like, oh, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I'm good to go. Hey, I gotta go. Yeah, what we got back there? Another green screen.
And this guy,
The ones where they're doing the, yeah, he's hanging his shirt, like you can see, like, yeah,
not even
you
good.
can clearly see the artist. It's like if you take your hands right now and you grab your shirt and you just pull out.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Yeah.
This one's my favorite right
And the
here.
green-
It goes to reach for,
Yeah.
yeah, what a dude.
But watch their thing at the end. I think this guy's always in it, man. He's the
He's
biggest.
always- He's the worst. Like they got to be like, hey Bob, we got to get you out of here, bro. You're blowing our.
Look at this.
Let me reach up
Yeah.
there. Oh, wait, oh, kung fu.
Here, I'm gonna pause it real quick. So
We have to. Then we got to expand.
So I imagine this guy in the green that's doing this flip, like when they're practicing, like, oh, this guy's got the shit, man. He nails every flip and you can never tell, right? So he's like the practice king of flips. But then whenever they go to film it, he gets nervous and he spoofs it up and grabs his harness. Because he is the most.
He's Ray Finkel.
Yeah. Terrible, man.
See? No, I'll have a few of these because there are a plethora of this kind of video, just one after another, people popping in. Another one of those videos where I really believe NASA, whether it's a huge thing with conspiracy theorists, is there's always like a they, and they is such like a bad catch-all for something because they always want to have like one cabal is like ruling everything. And that it has to be something nefarious. Whereas it could just be, not that it's nefarious, it could just be a corporation that's just taking taxpayers' money and just bluffing it, essentially. It doesn't have to mean that they're hiding aliens or that it's a flat earth. It could just be just a scheme to just get money from people, because you look at how much money we're giving NASA and what they're giving us, it's kind of silly. I'll get it to you at one point. There's a video of them crashing a satellite into an asteroid, and it's like 10 frames of the most silly stuff, and then you look at the price tag for that, and it's like, we have problems here on Earth that we got to fix before we can start terraforming Mars and doing this. I think it's time for the taxpayers to actually start looking into NASA, but unfortunately, it's just something that's been ingrained to our entire culture from the 60s that, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to go away.
Have you seen them? A lot of them are Chinese and a lot of them are military
Russian
people. And I'm telling you, they're moving. And this is what's going to be right around 2024 election, immigration riots, people going nuts. And it as listen to this and you'll start seeing all the little breadcrumbs being put out.
May I give you another scenario?
Oh, no.
May I give you another possible scenario? I hate to piss on your parade. What if we do have open borders? Thank you, Joe Biden, and a complete disaster down the border. And so governors like Greg Abbott are going, how about you guys want a taste of what we're dealing with? Hey, New York, here you go. They bust 13,000 immigrants in New York. Eric Adams goes, we don't have the resources for that.
Brian.
And that's a good way to teach the blue states to change their border.
Yeah, that's what they want you to
That's what
think.
you think,
How you
dude.
move into-
This is Brian. Look, I'm a puppet master. That's
I'm
what
telling
doing.
you, that's what you want you
You're
to
buying,
think.
you're buying it.
Oh, I thought
They're
it was
moving
puppet.
assets, bro.
You're the puppet.
They're moving
like
assets.
military people.
Dude,
man.
study the Bolshevik War. It is happening in
Bolshevik
real time.
Revolution.
100%.
But
I just wanted to get that out to everybody because I'm trying to warn people. This is what's next.
Sam Tripoli on the Joe Rogan Experience. Well, that was interesting. The guy who interrupted him with the Abbotts just sending them to New York to just make, hey, this is what we're dealing with. How about you have some? Very, very shallow. While I do agree with that, that's probably true in some aspect. The other part is that it is young men of military age with no families are crossing into the border. I think the Kwok brothers did a video on a few months ago where it was something like 60,000 Chinese nationals of military age, of men, cross the border. And that was before they think they might have got scared. Now they're back to talking about how to finance your mortgage. What Sam says is usually pretty spot on. He's got a really, really high energy that if you don't know him can kind of throw you off. But if you listen to his podcasts, you can really begin to see that he has a lot of information. And I don't want to compare him to like Alex Jones, but how Alex Jones will just pour information out. Sam will do it in the same way, but just not as good. I love him, but the fact is sometimes he'll get little things wrong, and it kind of again messes with his whole argument. But this one was spot on. There's a lot of scary things going on down there. There seems to be always something before an election, and this one just seems a little bit more agitated. And it feels like they're going to try to do something. Hopefully, nothing, but we shall see. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Volume 2. I really appreciate it. I'm not going to try to say it too many times just because half the videos on YouTube always do it and they just kill me with it. Try to like and subscribe. Helps me with just getting it out into YouTube, especially being a new channel. It really helps. Again, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you with interesting videos of Volume 3.